Okay, it is officially here. Officially, actually, really here, finally. And I am prepared. Hi everyone! Happy fall. I don't feel like a crook. A crook? Like a charlatan anymore saying happy fall or welcome to fall or it's finally fall, because it's actually here now. Fall, that is what I mean. And we are going to be reading this because I am dramatic. And I finally am able to read this book in peace, but that makes no sense because I could have read it when I got it, but I needed to wait for fall for some reason. I hope you're okay. We're gonna be reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt. It's supposed to be the most pretentious book ever, and I am a pretentious queen. So yeah, this is gonna be an impromptu reading vlog. I'm so happy right now. It is windy outside, and it has the smell of rain is everywhere, and it smells like earth. And I'm so happy when summer is over. Okay, so I just realized that I haven't, okay, this is so bad. Okay, I just realized that I haven't spoken about what the book is about, and then I realized that I don't know what the book is about. I cannot think of a summary for the life of me. I just realized that I have never seen a reading vlog. I've never read a summary, and I'm gonna keep it that way. I just read the prologue, and it is so fucking good. It is from the POV of someone that I still haven't figured out the name of yet, and I don't think we're gonna figure out the POV yet because it is from the POV of a murderer, one of 4 murderers. Someone is dead, and they found their body finally after weeks, and they found it 10 days after it's been gone. The POV basically says we went there, the 4 of us, and he didn't expect it, and now he's gone. So they killed him. I didn't know that this was a murder mystery. I don't know what I thought it was going to be about, but now I'm really freaking excited. It's raining, it's dark, and I'm just so fucking happy right now. A lot happened since last time I saw you. First of all, I was definitely wrong. We don't get like an obscure, I don't know who's who type of feel. Rather, we actually have already met all the characters. So the main POV, it's a first-person POV from Richard Papin, and the others are Bunny, Francis, Henry, and 2 twins, Charles and Camilla. So basically they take this Greek class. It is taught by a teacher who is very involved with them. His name is Julian, and he's very hands-on, very involved in kind of a weird way, which we're gonna get back into in a little bit, because it reminds me of another book and another teacher who's really involved with his students, like 6 inches deep involved in his students. Anyways, but Julian doesn't give me that. At least I hope he doesn't, because he takes a special class. He has a special class where he only takes in 4 students, 5 students at once, and teaches them every class there is to be taught, which is why he takes a very select amount of students. And Richard wanted to take classes with him, especially Greek classes with him. He doesn't really want to vehemently, he just wants to prove something to himself. That's at least the vibe that I personally got. So it sort of reminds me of the society in the Maidens. If you remember, I read that book, and if you've read that book, then you know there is a society in Maidens where they have like this special group with one teacher where they go in, and that like special group of students are just the weird clique in school, and everyone like says weird things about this clique in the school, now including Richard, but even like before him he was low-key stalking them, and we heard a lot of weird shit. So they're very mysterious, which of course prompts us to want to even know more about them, even though they themselves want to be secluded. And Richard is sort of trying to fit in with these kids. I personally don't want to be there when his lies catch up to him, because I actually feel really bad for him. But then again, I don't think that it's going to be such a big deal, and I wish he were just himself, but it's building the character, and I really, really like that. I don't think it's gonna be a big deal because they are fucking weird. Like, there's something going on with them, with these kids. The writing, the quotes that have been annotated in this book are just blowing my mind. It is written in such a beautiful way, a poetic, beautiful way, and also maintained to be relatable and not, I don't know, highbrow, pretentious, but really relatable to me personally, especially Richard. Months after I got to know the 5 of them, I found to my surprise that at the start they'd been nearly as bewildered by me as I by them. It never occurred to me that my behavior could seem to them anything but awkward and provincial. Certainly not that it would appear as enigmatic as it in fact did. Why, they eventually asked me, hadn't I told anyone anything about myself? Why had I gone to such lengths to avoid them? Though I had believed they were snubbing me, now I realized they were only waiting, politely, as maiden aunts, for me to make the next move. That is a part that I liked so much because it just helps to read something like that. But also from Richard's POV, we get a lot of parts where he's just like, I can feel them ostracizing me. I can feel them excluding me from their activities, from whatever they are doing. And whatever they're doing, I personally think that we're going to get to something very out of the blue, very out of the woodwork, something we didn't really think about, something we didn't expect, something I don't even plan to deduce. I just want to be surprised. I wonder if it has some fantasy elements because bitches are brewing shit. There are visions, there are shadow people appearing that are a little bit farther away from the logical explanations. So I'm excited about that part, of course. But even the tiny discrepancies that squeaked through their guard, I met with a kind of willful blindness. That is to say, I wanted to maintain the illusion that their dealings with me were completely straightforward, that we were all friends, and no secrets, though the plain fact of it was that there were plenty of things they didn't let me on. And though I tried to ignore this, I was aware of it all the same. This is something that I personally relate to a lot. I am finding Richard more and more relatable. I know it's pretentious, I know it's very highbrow, but I personally am finding Richard just my soulmate. He is me with a wee. Things like this I relate to on a spiritual level, feeling secluded, feeling ostracized, feeling like whatever group of people I'm with at the moment are doing things, jokes between them, stuff between them, do activities to then talk about them in front of me and me not being a part of them. And I know that I am part of the problem, partially, pushing everyone away and stuff like that, but still reading that scenario happened to me so many goddamn times, and I get it. I'm a weird person. I'm on a spectrum, and I have personality disorder that is low-key a mental disability. I get it. I'm a weird person to be around, but still, I've been in so many scenarios like that reading that now, I just wanted to hug the book. So around chapter 3, I got very curious. He started describing things, having unexplained bruises, them having cuts all the goddamn time, like constant bruising, constant cuts, and doing things, and him finding, I don't know, weird shit, dog, just weird shit, unexplained weird shit, and them offering the most, like, I don't know, the faintest of explanations that don't really satisfy one's mind. Writing is just perfect. The placement of the amount of curiosity it gives you and the amount of boredom it gives you is just perfect, because it starts off with this murder, then we go back in time, and then at the time where you're just like, this is getting boring, like I wish something would happen, he would remind us that he's reminiscing and speaking from the future and remind us that something grave that has happened, something just a lot, something grave that has happened in the past between them, and he would say slight, simple things like, I could have seen it if I wasn't so preoccupied with their company or stuff like that, and you're just like, oh yeah, murder, I wonder what happened, and then you pay more attention. So the writing, the placement of the writing is really, really perfect. It goes through a monotonous couple of weeks to you being, oh, I want to know what's happening, what's going to happen, where's the tipping point, Have we reached the tipping point? Did we pass the tipping point? And then you just want to read. On to chapter 4. I'm done with book 1. The way we finished book 1 is absolutely horrid. And the 5th chapter is basically the plan of the murder, which is so exciting to me. Love this type of thing. I love deciphering them. I love deducing them. I just love them so much, and I love how my brain works during those things. I love patterns. I love deducing patterns, I love deciphering them, and I love figuring out patterns and noticing patterns and stuff that don't really have patterns. I don't know if that makes sense, but I absolutely adored the 5th chapter, then the last chapter of part 1. The only issue that I have so far is a technical issue. So basically during one of the researches, they were looking for books and stuff like that. Henry was looking for books, and he came across Arabic books, right? And then he said they were written by Persians, and he basically said the Persians knew what they were doing and stuff, and he goes, I didn't know you read Arabic. And the Persians speak Farsi, not Arabic. Yes, some utilize Arabic, but such a small percentage when you compare it to the Farsi speaking people in Persia that stemmed from the Islamic Arab invasion of Persia, or the conquest of Persia. And even with that considered, it is a minimal percentage still. Even considering the books that he was referring to in the book, which were written in the 15th century, it still doesn't make sense. Even though the Arab conquest of Persia was in the 6th century, it, to this day, still utilizes Farsi as its first language. So that was just a little bit annoying to me, and I don't know, read kind of racist to me. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, I'm not. So felt like a mix-up of stuff. It's like saying Algerians speak French. Yeah, they do, but it's not the first language. They speak French because of the French invasion of Algeria. It's correct, technically, it is correct, but it's kind of lackluster in. Book is pretty lit though. I did not expect this plot at all. I did not expect this at all. So we are planning a murder, and the plan is so good. I found myself just with these characters, deducing shit, giving them advice, and they were talking, and I was reading their back and forth and their banter while trying to plan this life and then stuff. And I was just like, what if you do this? What if you do that? What if you do this and that and that? Oh no, we can't do this because this is easy to track and this is easy. And I love that so much. It like completely took me away from here and just put me in here, and I really enjoy being in here. And book 1 ended on the worst goddamn cliffhanger. I'm not gonna tell you what happened, but the worst goddamn cliffhanger. And now on to book 2. I'd like to start by saying that I am a little disappointed. Chapter 6 is the aftermath of the murder, and I gotta say, it's very fucking boring. I expected a little bit more. It was interesting to see all of them sort of crumble and try to hold themselves back together, and then crumble again, and then try to hold themselves together, try to build it up together again. But I still kept waiting for more. But chapter 6 in its entirety was very boring. I just wanted to get it over with. The writing has diminished, like the beauty of the writing has diminished in like very noticeably, very noticeably. It definitely started off better than whenever we got to chapter 6. That's all I have to say about chapter 6. Boring. Yeah. And then we got to chapter 7, which is the funeral, some arrangements, the funeral, and some really awkward situations. But I enjoyed reading that, not as much as I enjoyed the start of the book. Again, almost all of chapter 7 was boring, almost to its entirety, except maybe the last few pages. Last part of chapter 7, actually, the funeral in itself was very beautiful. I liked the dynamic of the group and showing how just every one of them is coping, and who chooses to cope how, and who crumbles, and the people that you expected to stay strong don't, and the people that you expected to completely like crumble away stay strong and hold on. It definitely took a turn that I didn't expect, downhill, not uphill. Now we are going on to chapter 8, which is the last chapter, and then we have the epilogue. And I gotta say, I'm going into this waiting for something, expecting something to happen, because so far I'm just a tiny bit disappointed. Okay, where do I even begin? Let's talk about the characters. As a whole, I think relating to the story, the characters fit the story, but they are lacking so much, actually. Not all of them, but they are lacking so much. Henry, for example, I found to be an excellent character. I would like to study him, to analyze him. He, to me at least, is sort of a perfect antagonist to this sort of story, but a missed opportunity. They could have done so much more with Henry. So much more I see could have been done with Henry, and it's just missed opportunity after missed opportunity after missed opportunity. Pepin, or Richard, our main character, the one who is reminiscing this entire story for us, we get the most out of him. A lot more could have been done with them. The one that we got more from is the dead one, Bunny, and it is very hate-inducing, which is good, but I mean, 6 characters, we could have done more, man. Then we have Camilla and Charles. Charles, I liked, we have more from him. Not as much as there was ought to be, but more from him. Camilla has the personality of a rock. She's just there. By the end, when shit started happening again, finally, it was intense, especially from her part, but I felt nothing, because she legit has the personality of a cat scratcher. A cat scratcher has more personality than her. She has the personality of a plank. I can think of a wooden plank that has more personality than her. The Eddie plank, that's what I'm thinking about. She has the personality of a rock, my man. She was just there. She didn't serve any fucking purpose. The purposes that she served were just lacking. She's just there. Francis was just a shadow the entire story until the very, very end. We started getting more from him, and I enjoyed that a lot. We spent so much time in chapter 6, 7 describing random shit that no one fucking want. Like, just shit that bored me the fuck out. Instead of that, we could have done more with the characters. We could have showed the aftermath of the murder was done so poorly. I know like what it was hinting at, but it was done so poorly in my opinion that we could have done so much more, showing the characters' digression into this despondent, distorted, warped kind of thinking, from them resulted in something pure evil such as murder, double murder, to them completely getting disintegrated to the point where they want to off themselves one by one by one. That period, we completely missed it. We was like looking at it from like a bell jar. It weren't there. And outside they were describing bitches, they were describing someone's mom, they were describing this and that and this and that and relationships and shit, while we could have focused on their digression, their descendants into their own personal madness to the point where they want to off themselves, but we didn't get that. I mean, you can feel it, it's there, but you can't see it the way it deserves to be seen. I would have loved to see that digression into madness. This is what makes the characters who they are, and we missed it. The first part of the book, however, is ensorceling, just absolutely enchanting. However, that does not carry throughout the entirety of the book. The book climaxes in a time where it wasn't supposed to climax, and then it leaves us with an uneventful series of existence. What I mean, when it climaxed in the middle, the murder happened in the middle, and whatever led to it happened in the middle. After it, it should have been madness. It should have been their descendants into their own madness. It should have been more and more and more. Think metamorphosis. Think Jekyll and Hyde. Think like it should have been this madness. Think The Raven of Edgar Allan Poe. Think Hamlet. It should have been this digression into the red thing. You know how Hamlet got incredibly haunted by death? I don't want to spoil if anyone wants to read the play, but I mean, it's fucking known. Fuck you. I should have, you know, that madness to the point. It was complete fucking utter madness, and it was internal. I would have loved that, but it climaxed and then it went downhill. All that being said though, the group as individuals or them as a group are interesting enough. Even the plank, they're interesting enough. Seeing the limits of their own morality slowly going further and further, and that red line of a limit, constant gradual evolution. But I rather think that the monotony of what was happening, or how it was described at least, took away or even shadowed me seeing that gradual descending. It's very important and detrimental to the story, but you sort of have to focus really hard to pick that up. There are so many points that I found garrulous for no reason, points that have ought to be pithy and they weren't. It is very interesting though to see them look for eudaimonia and reach eudaimonia and then completely grumble from it. However, looking now back at it, it's a really meaningful book. It speaks volumes on our own morality and the limit we set as our own morality and how far we can push it. I rated this for 3.5 or 4. That's it though. That's the book and that's the review. Thank you so much for watching if you have, and I love you. I'll see you next video. Happy fall.